Hello and welcome to the Healing Codes podcast. I'm Julie Williams, your host, sending you weekly healing activations and inspirations for health and well-being. Today's episode is the next in the Everyday Spirituality series, where I've been covering ways to integrate spiritual practice into your life in small but meaningful ways to support activating more life force energy, to overcome fatigue, low mood, and illness, so that you feel energized, joyful, and motivated. In the previous 2 episodes, I've outlined a variety of meditative practices for all schedules, lifestyles, and interests. Today, I want to talk about one of the most important factors involved in bringing spirituality into your daily life. It is a practice that is foundational to being a spiritual being, and one that will allow you to feel more peace, joy, and love in every moment. This is the practice of non-judgment for self and others. In this episode, I will explain why judgment is so harmful to you on all levels of being, the underlying reasons why we judge, how to become more aware of when you're judging, and most importantly, skills and practices to shift out of the judgment mindset into one that nourishes kindness, compassion, and self-love. Judgment is everywhere in everyday life and so ingrained into our existence that once you begin to notice it, it may surprise you. But the act of noticing a behavior is the first step towards making a positive change. First, take a moment to tune in to how you think. Do you classify things as good, bad, or right, wrong, or unacceptable and acceptable? The list goes on, of course, of how we judge, but you get the idea. As humans, we all do this at some level, and I'm now inviting you to break free of this habit to access more peace, harmony, balance, grounding, and to embody your truth. Judgment is a limited way of thinking, as it detaches us from the truth in the moment. When we place judgment on ourselves and others, states of being, emotions, situations, and places, we are no longer connecting directly with the experience, but rather an interpretation that we have created that may or may not be true for others as well. This becomes a slippery slope into conflict and drama, internally and externally. Judgment clouds clarity, creating veils of static that keep us from being able to access truth, compassion, and connection. Once you enter into a judgment mindset, you are in analysis mode, which compares, contrasts, and makes determinations based on your personal criteria. These personal criteria are based on your map and experience of reality, which is unique to you and may differ from somebody else in small or significant ways. You can never know what the truth is for someone else, unless, of course, you ask them. And even then, it depends on how well that person knows themselves to be able to answer accurately. When judgment is present, it prevents us from remaining open, vulnerable, and available for authentic communication and relationships. The reason for this is that judgment excludes rather than includes, which affects the ability to connect authentically. When a judgment is in play, the person has decided what something is or is not, and is no longer open to receiving other viewpoints. Judgment closes the mind, which closes the energy body and constricts the flow of life force energy through the entire system. It creates conflict, limits compassion, and activates the need to control things so that the judgment becomes true. Control is a safety mechanism for fear. When fear is present, in order to feel safe, someone must place parameters, judgments for example, on a situation so that they can manage or control the outcome. If they can manage the outcome, the likelihood of something unexpected happening lessens, which brings a false sense of security and safety. Essentially, judgment is a fear-based activity that pulls us out of the divine connection to unconditional love of all things, situations, and people. In reality, it is through expansion and connection to the infinite source of life force energies that is the safest place to be, where there is full trust in the divine order of all things, that the divine is in all things. And when we stay connected to the divine through conscious awareness, spiritual practices, and mindfulness, then we can access a true felt sense of the support of the divine within us that connects us to everything and everyone. This is the essence of living a spiritual life and cannot be done when we judge, exclude, think negatively, or come from a place of lack. Judgment involves a comparison of some kind, which creates an artificial sense of lack. When we are judging ourselves, this is always from a place of lack. Not being good enough, lovable, or deserving of. Lack is an illusion, since the truth is that you are the divine incarnate, God living in a human form, which is always whole, abundant, and loved. Casting judgment on yourself diminishes your life force energy as it constricts your ability to connect with the divine within you. When we judge others, then we often assume others are judging us. This creates a house of mirrors kind of situation, where you judge yourself and others and create the illusion that you are also being judged by others, and then reciprocate or retaliate by judging them too. Can you sense the constriction in this way of being? The body, soul, and spirit will follow the constrictive thoughts of the mind, depleting your availability of life force energies that will ultimately have an effect on not only your mental health, but also your physical health. If you are judging yourself, then you are also going to be judging others, since you will have a habituated pattern of needing to create a judgment to understand and relate with the world. If you are caught up in this cycle, it is related to a childhood conditioned pattern that supports this way of being. Maybe you had a parent who was critical or judgmental, or those around you as a child had strong opinions that may have been prejudiced. Maybe you grew up in a community of the haves and the have-nots that became a habituated way of looking at the world. These are all ways we can become influenced by how we were raised, that become locked into our belief and identity structures and run deeply in our subconscious mind. These belief and identity structures hold a vibrational signature that creates a frequency of energy that surrounds us and manifests our personal reality. So if you have judgment of others, you will unconsciously create situations where you can judge and be judged, creating an endless feedback loop of a judgment-based reality. So how do we break free from these fear-based constraints of judgment that constrict the body, mind, and soul? The first is to become aware of when and how you are applying judgment to situations, people, and places. A great practice to do this is to observe without thought. Judgment is an action of the thinking mind. When we can observe using all of our senses and consciously stay with the sensory-based input, we are able to connect to the thoughts, feelings, and sensations directly, releasing the need for judgment. Observe without thought. So when someone asks you, "How are you doing?" for example, rather than applying a judgment of good, bad, simply connect with the feeling or sensation that you are aware of without thinking about it. I'm feeling happy today. I'm feeling unwell. I have a sense of harmony. I am angry. Releasing the need to add extra thinking to a sensation allows us to embody our truth and relate in a meaningful and authentic way. This takes practice, But the first step is to begin to notice how many thoughts you use to create a judgment. I'll use a simple example here to explain. When you go outside and get your first sense of the temperature and weather conditions, what happens? What's the first thing you notice? The sun is shining, a chilly breeze is blowing, the air temperature is mild. Then, what is your next thought? It's going to be a great day. That is a judgment. Or, I need to get my sunglasses and a jacket. That's non-judgment. It's too bright outside. A judgment. Or, I feel the sun on my face. Non-judgment. Or, if it's raining, what do you first notice? The rain is pouring down. Non-judgment. What an awful day. Judgment. I should get my raincoat. Non-judgment. The weather is bad. I need my umbrella. Judgment. The differences here are subtle, but can you get a sense of the difference between them? How the non-judgment statements of fact or observation without comment are simple, easy, and drama-free, while the judgment statements are more limiting. Begin to apply this to your daily life and notice the difference. The magic of practicing non-judgment is that you reclaim so much energy that was wasted in creating the thinking and judgments around your sensations. This is creative energy that you will be able to repurpose to other areas of your life that will serve you much better. Take a moment to think about where you'd like to put your reclaimed creative energies. Into your relationship, work, learning a new skill, adding an artistic expression like singing, painting, or dancing. Let this motivate you to stay with the practice of non-judgment. Another great way to release the need to judge is to accept the fact that everything is in divine order, that you are always in the right place, at the right time, doing the right thing. There is no way to get anything wrong because everything is always on the right path for your greatest good. The good, the bad, and the ugly. All of it is showing up for your greatest good. Every single thing. In fact, you are receiving what shows up in your reality in direct relation to what you've been asking for. In order to make changes, sometimes obstacles must be removed from our path. To do so, you first need to see these obstacles and put in the work to overcome them, which can create difficulty in life. You also need to gain a deeper level of strength and connection within yourself to overcome these difficulties, to allow for you to fully receive the new way of being you've been asking for. So, if you must judge, then applying the judgment that it is all good, and taking the time to find the good in all difficult situations. Or, to use non-judgmental language, to trust that if all is in divine order, then how can this situation be benefiting you? What are the resources you're gaining? The personal growth that you are being invited into? Some call this making lemonade out of lemons, but it is a simple practice that will turn your world around and allow you to live your life rather than it living you. When you can truly embody the idea that all is in divine order, then there is no reason to judge anything because it is all good, right, acceptable, and so on. There is no such thing as wrong, bad, or unacceptable. This is the path of being a spiritual being. The trust, belief, and ability to connect with the divine energies that are greater than ourselves in deep knowing that you are fully supported, that what you want is already there within you and waiting to be uncovered. You are born in wholeness, and that exists your entire life. So what you seek is already within. All you have to do is look, trust, and believe. Thank you for listening today. It was an honor to hold space for you. If you'd like to find out more about me and my work, please visit my website, www.consciousness-medicine.com, where you can sign up for my free e-newsletter, find out about all my upcoming courses and summer retreats, and stay connected on social media from the links on the homepage.